Good morning. Now, as we go through it, hopefully we'll be able to answer a lot of the questions that do come up about Lomiko and what we are doing. Lomiko Metals is a company that trades on the TSX Venture under the symbol LMR and under the OTC under the symbol LMR-MF. We've been around for about 6 years in the graphite business, and what we've done recently is completed a 100% acquisition of our project, Loutre, and are now in the phase of development and producing a 43101 and PEA on the combined property. A little bit about my background. I'm Paul Gill, CEO, and I've been involved primarily in commodities for the last 20 years in exploration and mining. Our previous company, Norsemont Mining, was a Peruvian copper play that started off very, very small. And as we drilled, it grew and grew in the 2000s. And we were able to sell that to Hudbay eventually in 2011 for $500 million. And it's an operating mine today that contributes to the economy of Peru. So what I did was I wanted to look for different locations that would provide us with the next material that was going to be very important. And we certainly looked at lithium. Of course, there's lots of competition in lithium, but then in graphite, there was a number of opportunities that struck us as being opportune. And we found those primarily in Quebec, and that location was very appealing. So we started optioning properties. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about our property. But first, let's talk about where this market is going. As you can see by the screen, the man of the decade already is Elon Musk, who's become one of the richest men in the world. Because of his stock price Tesla and a little bit because of SpaceX. What we're seeing is this is led to more and more entrants into the electric vehicle space. That's an amazing situation for people who have now had the opportunity to start investing in electric vehicles. That opportunity is really with the big plays like Tesla, like GM, like Ford, but the percentage returns, the return on investment isn't going to be as stellar anymore because a lot of these plays are maturing. So what we should ask as investors is what's next? And commodities that go into the electric vehicle are the answer. So a little bit about Lomiko. We're an exploration stage company that's going to development now in one of the best jurisdictions in the world, Quebec. We've been looking at graphite as what we call the best opportunity in the electric vehicles market and supply chain market. And we've now acquired 100% of our project. That was a $1,125,000 payment. So we're serious about this project. We think it's going to production, and we need to do everything we can to get it there. So the next steps are metallurgy, 43101, PEA, a preliminary economic assessment. Now we've already attracted interest from one of the firms in New York. That was a group called Kenmar Securities, which indicated that they would participate with Lomiko once we reached a decision to mine, and that was probably going to come at the point of the preliminary economic assessment reception. So there's Tesla, and there's the page. You can get this off the website. Here's where we're at right now. What we call the opportunity of the next decade is electric cars, and you can see by the rise and the anticipated rise that we're going to see in the next decade a major change in the way things operate with the electric vehicles and the battery materials associated with them. So this next slide talks about some of the lithium-ion battery megafactories that exist today. And that is a stunning situation in which there is going to be a lot of demand created by these mega factories that are going to need graphite, lithium, cobalt, manganese, silicon, and other materials. One of the things we know is, as mentioned by our previous presenter, is China has just changed from an exporter of graphite into an importer of graphite. So that means that there is no longer any material left in North America for factories and mega factories that might be built here. So that's very, very interesting situation, and I think we should pay attention to that, and I'll have a little bit more comment on it. So here is an interesting slide about all of the different battery materials that exist within the lithium ion battery family. So you see that nickel, aluminum, copper, all of those are mentioned, manganese, but by far and away, the biggest demand is going to be for graphite, and the demand is going to increase ninefold. And it's obviously, just as the previous presenter said, and I repeat, it's because there is more graphite than any other product in the lithium ion battery, 92 kilograms per Tesla. So if you imagine 1 million Teslas on the road, you would need 300,000 tons of refined graphite in it. To produce that amount of graphite, you would at least need 5 new mines in North America alone, just for North America, let alone the demand that might be existing in other parts of the world. So this is something to pay attention to. We've been harping on it for several times that we've presented here. This is the time that this hockey stick moment is really taking place. So a little bit more about the need for graphite. What we see, of course, is the excellent conductivity. It's readily available, which makes it a good material to use. It has a number of different factors, including the conversion ability to graphene, and also it has a various amounts of uses in a number of different industries. And so you see that, you have consumption in batteries, foundries, lubricants. Also, there's value-added products that are being produced. This is something we want to be in and be able to have as a commodity stored away and producing in a mine. Therefore, what happens is when these new uses come online and demands increase in each of those, we'll have more ability to supply the market that is yet to come. And that's the key, is the market is very small right now compared to what it will be. So some idea of what happens and where the big demands are coming from and where the best prices are. So you have natural flake graphite prices all the way along the top in different particular industries. But when you see that spherical graphite for electric vehicles and nuclear facilities is far and away the best price per ton of material, you obviously can see that we need to be there. We need to be able to process material that will go into that kind of market. So that's what we're intending to do. As I mentioned previously, one of the big factors is there is a Canada-US agreement in place to supply critical minerals to the green economy. And this is a picture, of course, of the former President Trump, but it's also the strategy is very well supported by current President Biden. And even recently, Mr. Trudeau and Mr. Biden spoke, and electric vehicles was on the list of topics, which makes it obviously the case. Also in breaking news was an announcement by Mr. Biden that all federal vehicles would become electric vehicles. And you imagine the demand that would create on the battery supply chain. So they may not be driving Teslas, but they might be driving GM or Ford or other ones. And so it just indicates that there's a good reason for all of these vehicles or these companies to go into electric vehicles and expand their repertoire. That is going to immensely increase the demand for graphite. So we always look for that kind of situation where there's going to be massive demand. We saw the price of copper in the 2000s go from 70 cents to $3. It's never come down. It's hovering around $2.50 to $4 sometimes. And that's because the onset of China as a manufacturing giant created that demand. Now we see that demand is going to also be required for electric vehicle battery materials, and especially graphite as one of the key materials. But graphite has a secret weapon in that it is used in other things besides electric vehicles, and the markets there are continuing to grow. So a little bit about our project. We're located about 117 kilometers from the port of Montreal. Very important to be able to move product. We're on a highway system, and we have access to the project by gravel road. There is 2 major areas of discovery, and we've completed drills just in 2019 and started doing more work in metallurgy and other things. In addition, there's also a large mine, the only operating graphite mine in all of North America, within 53 kilometers of our site, which makes an opportunity and synergy for production and perhaps processing at that facility. Their material is about 5 million tons of 7.42% graphite. Well, that's very similar to what we have already, and we hope to add to it and make a more increased amount of tonnage and grade that will be anticipated after the PEA. Near surface mineralization is very important because it less cost to remove the waste material over top of the actual ore that pays money, and a large scale target, which means a lengthy time that you can mine this particular product. So all of those go into the factor of what the property is worth before it's mined and after it starts mining. And here's a project, a picture of the project. As you see, there's still only 2 areas we've discovered, but there's many others to continue to drill. So we have a very large project. The graphene battery zone was part of a resource in 2016, and now we're going to add the new zone, the new discovery zone, as part of a joined 43-101. Very exciting times. This is the time that you add value when you start defining material in the ground, and also then create PEA and metallurgy. Here's an example of some of the drill holes we've seen. 100-meter plus intercepts are very, very good, but within them you have high grade intercepts of many, many meters, but percentages of 18%, 15%, etc. are excellent. And that is in the new zone. Here's more in the new zone from the previous drilling in 2015-16. As you see, one of our best holes is 110 meters of 14.5%. That is one of the best drill holes drilled at that time, and also continues to be the core of the project value so far. And around it, we will be defining a deposit. So those are things to look for when you see the discovery. Does the company have drill holes that prove what they have? And we certainly do, and we're planning to put an engineering report to report it all. So if you can also see that a 900-meter strength length in the new zone, that means lots of tonnage. High grade and lots of tonnage equals more of a competitive advantage over other competitors in this field. So when you report the 43101, one of the key things to look out for is sulfur content. Those impurities cause huge problems going forward. But all in all, we haven't seen any yet, and we hope that there is none at this point. Here's a
Paul,
previous.
you'd like to wrap up in 1 minute or
Yep.
two to answer any questions from the
audience? Perfect timing, Gilbert. I am about to wrap up, and here's the last slide. So what we see here is the previous resource, and you see the very same similar shapes as the refractory zone. And what you see is that we have plenty of tonnage, 18 million tons at 1.5% cutoff, and then 16 million tons inferred at 1.5%. So all of those can be drilled and additional things added to them. But I'm ready to take questions now, Gilbert, if we can proceed.
Sure, thank you, Paul. Let's go with the first one, Kenzie, and he's asking, how will the Biden's new climate plan affect the market of your materials?
Yeah, it's going to be a very good effect on our materials, simply because he's really pushing the need for electric vehicles. That pushes the demand for these materials that build the lithium-ion battery that go into those electric vehicles. So it's a win-win for us. Not only that, there's also charging stations that have to be built all over the country for the electric vehicles, capacity build out. So watch, watch what happens. I think he's a gentleman who's on a mission, and we're going to benefit from it here in Canada.
Sure. This question coming from Ken is that Lomiko share price is up over 50% for the last 4 weeks. Any particular reason for that?
Yeah, I think what we did was we told everyone what our plan was in October and November of 2020. Then we proceeded to raise funds to be able to complete that plan. And now the risk has been removed because we have actually got the money paid for our full property, and now have money to also pay for the preliminary economic assessment. So risk off is a good thing in this industry. Having momentum is a good thing. And, we've seen other groups such as Nouveau Monde, which are competitors. Their price rose to $1.60 recently. There's Mason Graphite, which is trading at 70 cents, and other ones. It's all indicative of big funds that are looking for positions in companies. So if we build Lomiko further and prove what's in the ground, we'll also attract that kind of attention.
So let's go with the last question here from Wendell Decal. Is the Quebec government favorable in granting permits for mining graphite?
Yes, we've been reviewed by the Quebec government, of course, before you proceed in making a purchase of the kind we have and putting out over $1 million of shareholders' money. You have to be very careful. We contacted the Quebec government. They also have a plan in place as well on critical minerals, and they plan to continue to develop and support. In fact, there's an arm of the Quebec government called Investment Quebec that has invested in Nouveau Monde and invested in Mason Graphite. So we feel that we're very confident going forward. Should we deliver a very successful PEA, we'll also attract attention and support.
Thank you, Paul, for returning to give us an update. Thank you for your time here today.
Thanks very much, Gilbert. Take care.
Take care.